this video, I'm going to show you how to deploy a WhereScape 3D model into WhereScape RED using a modern CI/CD workflow. If you're a data engineer and you're looking to streamline or automate your workflow using modern CI/CD practices, and you're currently faced with problems such as converting your data model design into physical objects on your target platform, or you can't scale up your operation as you have too many bottlenecks either with the process or with people, or you face lots of human errors or errors in the process with deployment, or you're simply interested in saving time in the overall process, then let's head over to my machine where I'll walk you through how you can use WhereScape 3D to automate the process of deploying the model into your target platform. And in our case, we're going to use Snowflake to commit any changes you make within WhereScape 3D, to assess the design that is deployed into WhereScape RED, and to also commit any changes we make in RED back into GitHub. So here we are in WhereScape 3D, where we've already mapped out our sales system and designed the tables that we need to use and the relationships between those tables. That model version is then informed and helped us to build the fact table we're looking to create that will have the dimensions and the facts needed to fulfill our case studies. That star schema has in turn informed the model that contains all the load and stage tables required to populate the facts and dimensions, and then we've moved that into our sales model inside of RED export and prepared the objects ready to move into WhereScape RED. Now if we hop over to WhereScape RED, in here I can browse the connections, and this is my connection to my Snowflake environment. So if I browse the Snowflake environment over here, we can see the only tables that are currently there at the moment are within the information schema. There's no other tables within any other schemas. So this repository has no objects included in it, so it's ready for us to deploy into and for the objects to be built inside of Snowflake. So back in WhereScape 3D, I can now export the sales model into my RED environment. We can use the export to RED workflow, and this is a slightly different workflow as it interacts with our Git repository. So let's click that now, and from here the CI/CD processes will help commit the model to our Git repository, helping us to retain any changes that may have been made before we move those changes into RED. I can add a message and click on OK and commit those changes back to Git. So now the XML file has been created, it's then deployed to RED, and if I now go into WhereScape RED, so now I have deployed the metadata into my repository. If I was to browse my data warehouse connection, which is connected to Snowflake, I will see my load, stage and star schemas have appeared as there are objects inside of these schemas, and if I expand them I can see my load tables, my stage tables, and my dimensions and facts appear within the star schema. So now I've made all of the deployments into RED, I've double checked everything. So now we have deployed our 3D model into RED, and we've checked the metadata and ensured the objects have been created in Snowflake, which is our target environment. We want to commit the metadata within RED back to Git, and we do that by right mouse button any object, going to workflows and clicking on commit to Git. This launches the process of exporting all of the metadata into the local Git repository before committing it back to the remote repository. And then we can add in our commit message. At this point, if we wanted to make any changes to the design, for instance, if we wanted to start to add logic or change the way in which tables are joined, we can use WhereScape's metadata, and we can go through the processes of changing the data pipeline and then committing any changes back to Git after that. As you have seen, I've quickly been able to deploy my WhereScape 3D model into WhereScape RED and commit all of the changes back to GitHub while enabling me to adapt anything in WhereScape RED and committing any of those changes back to Git as well. The benefit of doing this means I get to utilize WhereScape 3D and its automation to build out the data model very quickly without spending time looking at code. I then get to deploy that to WhereScape RED, and RED takes the metadata and applies the templates to build out the code, physicalize the objects on the target platform, saving me time producing very well written code. I have the full audit of Git, enabling me to understand who's contributed into the data model, when and where, and why when they've updated the commit messages. This gives me the ability to scale up my team and build out more data models, but build it to a consistent standard across everything that's built within this ecosystem. And furthermore, I now have the ability within Git to build test automation, not only to test the designs, but build out test automation over the data. All of this gives me the ability to put my tests up front to save any pain in my development lifecycle and stop errors going through to my production environment. So this helps me to avoid any translation errors between the data model design and the physical objects while building out all of the objects to a standard code set. The automated workflows help me to reduce human error, but also help to speed up the end-to-end process of designing data models and publishing them through to my target environment. And all of this is underpinned by GitHub audit history. So at any point, if something goes wrong, I can roll back to a good known version of the code. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to build data pipelines within WhereScape RED.